Thanks for agreeing to talk to us today. This is Vicki Aldridge, who is my osteopath, a human osteopath, who works out of Bishops Stortford. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I thought it'd be real nice for us to have a little chat this morning about, I know, especially as a tall person, how much I've always needed some sort of body work throughout my life, but especially as a dog trainer, because it does take its toll on the body. And I wonder if we could start off by maybe talking about that side of things before we go on to maybe preventative or curative.
Okay. The first thing I'll say is, I don't see more tall people than short people. So tall isn't everything.
Okay.
Everybody has their own issues. So it just means as you're tall, again, you're constantly having to correct yourself because you've just got longer levers and the body's having to work a bit harder. But we're all very good at cutting corners. Human nature, we'll cut a corner if we can. And my general rule is just doing what you can when you can, and just having a few basic guidelines to try and help manage whoever we are, whatever we're doing, in whatever situation we're in.
And so for me with the dog training, I think probably, I guess one of the hardest things is probably a dog that pulls on the lead. I think that's pretty hard on the back.
Okay. So again, it's about being grounded. And I know a bit about standing still, which sounds obvious, but actually we all stand quite badly a lot of the time. Personalised quote for standing is the queen, and it's basically military. So it's just that stable, feet hip width apart, slightly soften the knees, just trying to square yourself. With the dog pulling, if you're in that position, you've got the best opportunity to drop your weight down into your buttocks and ground yourself. Whereas if you're standing on one leg or sort of off balance, they can catch you out quite quickly. So, it's to say, it's really just being stable and grounded and really starting with the basics and going from there. So again, I'll keep saying it sounds simple, but learning to stand square. The more you do it, the easier it gets. You don't even realise you're doing it. And it's not being caught out, but easier said than done. But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've certainly been caught out a few times in my lifetime. And I think that whole feet hip width part, to me, it's weird, but when I've got a dog, when I've got the end of a lead in my hands, I'm much more conscious of that than if I haven't got a dog, because I know it's self-protection.
Yeah.
And I guess I've disciplined myself because it turns me on to doing it,
Well, one of the things as well that I'll talk about is engaging your body. What we don't do is actually engage. So it's being present in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's when you're working, quote unquote, you will put yourself in work mode.
Yes.
So trying to get work mode more day to day, not just working, but even when you're standing, doing the washing up or brushing your teeth or just peppering it into the day, so that then if something happens, whether it's a dog or a horse, again, you'll naturally know, ground, and you've got a good fighting chance. Whereas if you don't do it, it does catch you out. Because when you're training is one thing, but when you're walking dogs, I get people get called walking dogs, and that's a squirrel, that's the unknown.
Yes, that's true.
And again, you can't prepare for everything, but if you're grounded before you start, get yourself stable, and you get a good walking rhythm, which again is something that I'm talking to my people about a bit more, is starting grounded, walking well. If those things happen, you can hopefully engage that sort of those deep muscles and drop your weight so that you've got some counterbalance to them. It takes reflex, but it is switching on as well.
Yes, so it's keeping that awareness in your body even when you're walking. The other thing I've noticed with a lot of women, Vicki, which I'm sure you'll know more about this even so, is women are when women walk like that, they're much more easy to topple, and that's a sort of feminine, model-y thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, that's why I quote the Queen, because she doesn't look unladylike.
No.
And yet You never ever see her wobbling, and I watched her at a cocktail party, again, big which can't see what her knees are doing, but I'm pretty sure it's that military at ease, just drop your weight. And that makes sense for me, martial arts, sports, anything like that. It's just that engage and think about your body. We take our bodies for granted at the end of the day, but they're kind of important because they're with us all the time. So, you know, it's just trying to help you help yourself and just be aware of that. So, you know, do what you can.
Because it is pretty tricky, isn't it? You know, to actually stay conscious all the time. Like, you know, what do you suggest if people are like watching TV, or, you know, that's probably the most common place where we all sit, where we do switch off from our bodies?
I think, again, it's you know, human nature, we cut corners. I keep saying that because we're very good at that. Sofas are the worst things in the world. I shouldn't say that, but it's not easy to sit well on the sofa. But again, basic rules. I often suggest shorter people usually need a footstool.
Right.
Like shorter, 5, 6 and below, some low footstool, not high, a low one. It helps get your weight back. So you stop the sliding or the tipping your feet underneath you or the leaning. Taller people on a sofa, I'd say you need to take something to get the weight of your legs supported. So a big bag, again a low footstool. And that again is another way just to help set you up, to give you a fighting chance to not slouch. But it is...
So you're looking at not slouching, but being in as relaxed a position as possible, I guess.
Trying to start in a good position and relax.
I could almost do with you in my living room, really, to like poke and prod me.
Well, the next thing I'll say is you do need to just remind yourself, because the thing that someone said to me, and this was actually a horse person, James Shaw, I think you know, gravity works all the time. It never stops.
Yeah.
So enough energy to counter the forces of gravity, and gravity doesn't switch off in the evening. Gravity is still there, so you always have to have enough energy to counter that a little bit. And even when you relax, it's just coming back again and trying to square up a little bit.
Sitting, yes.
Sofa. But again, I suppose what I'll say, sitting on the sofa, the thing to bear in mind, it isn't just about sitting on the sofa. How you sit on the sofa means how you'll actually, your body position and your habits, so that then you sleep like that. So if you get a bit stiff on the sofa, you'll then sleep a bit stiffer. You then wake up the next morning a bit stiffer. You then, the whole day, or the patterns, that's what happens. So it's trying to invest a little bit, not just in that moment, but it's the long term as well. But
and what about lying down? Is there any point at which you can go plop?
Well, it depends how you plop. I'd say if you can't sit well, lie down. And I say that a lot for teenagers, because at the end of the day, trying to tell a teenager to put a bit of effort into their posture is, you know, never going to happen. So lying down, at least you're not having to fight gravity so much. The difficulty is very rarely do we lie down and not want to watch television or read a book or talk to someone. So again, you often end up compromising and propping yourself up and doing things. So it's trying to just do, like, be true to your body in that moment of just giving it the support. And so if you're lying down, try to lie down properly. You can prop yourself up, but you want to be as even as you can. So you don't want to be punching forwards or lying side at funny positions.
Too squidged.
Then that, as I say, affects how you sleep, and it affects how you wake, and then it affects everything else.
One of the big things you told me about, I think, was the knee cushion when I'm sleeping, which I find has made a huge difference for my lower back.
Yeah.
Can you just say a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's a very personal thing. Some people are just definite no's. Some people love it. But the idea is one of the most comfortable positions, lying on your back or lying on your side. A lot of people can't sleep on their backs. I can't. I don't feel comfortable on my side. But for women particularly, we have nice small waists, hopefully, but bigger hips. So there's always an instability there. So the pillow between the knees just helps to square yourself up and get your thighs a bit more level. So again, if you're sleeping more square and balanced, you wake up a bit better, you get going a bit better. It's just trying to balance things a bit as much as you can. But I do have people that will have it for an hour and chuck it out, or but you know, so it's finding what works for you. I will say with that as well, try different pillows, because I have people that try one pillow and go, no, it doesn't work. But actually different types of pillows, sometimes you don't want too big, too small. It's just what works. Just
and also that your one at the surgery, I know, is really super soft. It's like that really lovely memory foam, isn't it? Which is, it's nicer than the one I've got at home, actually.
Well, the one I use a lot is actually a neck cushion.
Oh, okay.
So it actually is meant to support here. And actually I use that for knees quite a lot. It just works. That's what I say. Sometimes you just need to think outside the box, try different things. Sometimes sofa cushions, and if you put a ribbon through the middle, you can make like a cracker type shape. You know, that stays between. Whereas a big pillow is too big, you end up chucking it out and it's in the way. And is there any sort of neck pillow that you recommend? Any particular pillow for bed that is better than another, do you think? Pillows are a bit like mattresses. They're a minefield. There's so many, and it's all on the individual. So what works for you? We're all different shapes and sizes. But like anything else, the aim is to lie as neutral as you can. So you don't want to be squished up. Lying on your front, I'll always say, you can only do it to a certain age. You get to a certain age where you can't lie on your front. But you're always trying to just get enough support here. Right. I mean, with sleeping, if you're back a bit, I'd always say how you'd sleep if you were a poor person. In other words, if you didn't have nice clean sheets, mattresses, pillows, you'd be on the floor. So you'd want to be as supported as you could be. Yeah. We're lucky enough to have pillows, so you just want enough support between your shoulders and your ear, so that you're not one way or the other, so you can relax neutral. And that it is a bit of a minefield. I mean, the ones I tend to use are like a memory foam with a bit of a shape, but I'm not saying they're any better than anyone else. Some people love them, some people don't. But, I found it really difficult to get on with a memory foam head pillow, to be honest. Well, I've only tried one, but again, there's probably 100 different ones. Exactly. Why I can't say one's better than another, and it depends on your mattress, and it depends on your sleeping position. Yes,
and how long your neck is, or how wide your shoulders are, or whatever. Good. And so, are there any other tips you would give us on preventative, or should we move on to what we do when it all goes wrong?
One thing I think I quite like, and one thing I find quite exciting, is walking. I like walking, obviously. Hopefully a lot of your people are walking dogs. And you can do a lot walking. I think people forget and underestimate walking. Walking is a really good way of oiling your whole body. So, like anything, start well. So remember that standing position, and I'll put a link of how I'd suggest to stand. We can do that afterwards, and walk from there. But it's kind of getting yourself, breathe, get yourself upright, and get a nice little rhythm going. And there's little games you can play. You can play with yourself. You can play with speed. So you can go a bit faster, you can go a bit slower, and then you find that comfy middle place. And again, it's looking for a rhythm, a comfortable rhythm. You can lead with different parts of your body, so you can walk forward with your shoulder more, or your right shoulder more, or your left hip. Again, it's just challenging your body to go, oh, that's different. What feels good for me? So it's just stimulating parts. You can walk backwards a few steps. So again, it challenges your footwork. If you get to an uneven place and you've got better footwork, you're less likely to trip. But if you never challenge yourself, you never do that. You can walk sideways for a bit. And the one I really like is you can play with different joints. It sounds complicated, but as you're walking, just think about your ankles for 5 to 10 strides. Think about your knees for 5 to 10 strides. And when I say think about them, put life in them. So really come on, knees, let's go. You can do that with your hips, your waist, your ribs, your shoulders, your elbows, your hands, your jaw. and as I say, depending on your anatomy, you can go into great detail. I started doing every little joint, but that actually gets your whole body moving, and you're not then just walking. You're walking, and it's such a good exercise. And I think, again, if you're doing that and you have life in your body for training, if you've got life in your body, your dogs are going to pay more attention. If you've got life in your body, if they pull, you've got more to counter. And actually you get back and think, oh, that was worth doing. I actually had a good walk, rather than, oh, I'll just take the dog out, wander around the field and come back again. So it kind of does lots of different things all in one go. So
I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. I'm going to play around with that. I think that sounds excellent. And really interesting, because it is so easy to just go into that mindlessness, isn't it? I mean, quite literally. And I sorry?
Mindlessness is good as well, because it's good to let your mind go. It's good to switch off, but it's good to switch on. Again, it's the extremes. Switch on a bit, switch off a bit. So have a bit of both. But it's always go to those extremes to find a comfy middle.
And the message I'm getting from you, Vicki, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, I feel, is to just sort of keep changing what you're doing a little bit, not get too set in any one thing, which I think we can do as as I get older. I think that's what happens.
Well, again, unfortunately, human nature, we will cut corners if we can. Animals do it, we do it. But actually, the more genuine, the more effort you put in, the more you get out. A good, healthy body needs some effort.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be massive. I'm not into marathons. I just think they're too extreme. But, the walking, the little and often, they just kind of stimulate your body. We're so used to sitting around, which, whether it's work, whether it's relaxing, whatever, we'd spend a lot of time sitting, too much time sitting. Moving is just more of what we're meant to do, and bodies like it. So it's good.
Yeah, excellent, brilliant. And so then, what would you say to someone who'd got an injury, especially at the moment, if they can't get help?
There's some very basic self-help you can do, and self-help goes an awful long way. So as an osteopath, I always say we're like car mechanics for the body. We're trying to help things get moving. But actually yourself, you can help calm the body down. So if something's very angry, the first thing you need to do is calm it down. So I like ice packs, or hot and cold, or gels and creams, or tablets. So that's a whole minefield in itself, but there's lots of tablets you can take. But you have to think of why you're taking them. You're taking them to calm it down in the first few days. Then once hopefully the anger goes off and it's just a bit stiff, it's again just trying to get things working again. But pain is there for a reason. Pain is your body going, I don't like it, stop. But there's a fine line of pain. So with animals, if they're in pain, 24 hours, don't use it. They just stop everything. After 24 hours, there's almost like a switch, and they will use it then. If they can, they will use it. Right. And that's about getting your body back again. So we have to respect, pain is there to say don't, but then actually you have to break the pain cycle. So it's finding that, just go underneath the pain levels, but try and do something with it and use it a little bit. So it's quite a complicated answer, so there's no straightforward, but definitely if something's angry, get it calm first, and ice packs and hot and cold and things like that. If anyone wants specific advice, then feel free to ring me. I have time at the moment, so I'm happy to speak to anyone, and it's easier to be more specific when because we're all so different. But self-help is definitely worth doing.
Well, I know I spoke to you just last week because I'd got a twinge, and your advice certainly helped me, and it certainly eased the discomfort of that one. It's definitely on the mend, even if it's not 100% yet. Then I was quite surprised, really, that just having a conversation with you really did impact that. So that was lovely. Thank you. And thank you for that very kind offer. I hope people take advantage of that.
Well, I mean, again, placebo. It sounds silly, but placebo. It almost sounds like, well, I'm outselling myself. But you know, actually, putting a bit of effort into your body, it does respond. We don't, as osteopaths, we don't make you better. We help your body make itself better. Right. So it's really just finding is that catalyst to go, right, what do you need? And sometimes just saying to your body, you need to do something. Yeah. Which is why, again, prevention better than cure. Put a bit of effort in. You put that effort in, it will pay you back again. You know, most injuries happen because we've cut corners. It's either an overuse or an underuse thing. So it's either something stiffened up and stopped working, or something's overworking. So again, we're just trying to keep things balanced in the middle.
Yeah, oh, that's really useful. So before we finish today, I know you've made some excellent YouTube videos on posture. Huh?
I'm trying.
Yeah, we're all getting so techno unphobic in this period, which is brilliant. And we're going to link them in when I post this online. We're going to put them in the links or the comments, I think. I don't know quite how else to do it, Vicky, but if you wouldn't mind linking them in later, that would be brilliant. I'll let you know as soon as I've got it out online.
So at the moment, I've got one on standing and I've got one on sitting. I'm going to try and get one on rocking, which I haven't talked about at the moment. But again, when you're standing still for any period of time, it's quite tiring. So actually rocking is a good alternative. Yeah. So it's just lifting your weight forwards and backwards. So I'll try and get that one on there as well. So that
okay, brilliant. And maybe one on walking, huh?
That could be interesting. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Beginning and the walking's the build up to it.
Okay, yeah, we'll start with the standing. Yeah, we'll move on from that. Yeah, I'm just so demanding.
Yeah. In fact, just when you say that, on my website, I'm just doing a blog on walking. So that's
brilliant.
All up. So that will give you those things we talked about, the speed and the different joints. They're all on there. So there's a bit of a
reminders.
Good reminders.
Could we, so what's the name of your website? I know we'll put it in the links, but maybe you could just mention it in case someone's
so
listening.
It's the Bishops Stortford Osteopathy and Physiotherapy Practice, and the website is www.stortfordosteophysio.co.uk.
Brilliant. And we'll link that in later as well.
Yeah,
because it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. It takes me a while to say it.
Yeah. Was there anything else in your mind you thought would be useful to say today, Vicky, that I haven't asked you about?
Whatever, you know me. I think, again, keep saying simple is best. Keep it simple. Just don't get complicated. You know, bodies like to move. It's all about balance. Pick the right level for the right day. Do the best you can do. So just sit as well as you can. Get up regularly so you're not staying there too long. That at least challenges you. Even if you just sit in different chairs, I've had people just move around the room so you're not sat in one chair. Desk setups are really important. That's something, you know, that really we need to look at. Again, there's links on the website, so rather than going through that, because again, that's a whole another talk we could do on. But just keep it simple, little and often, just everything, use your body, but don't overuse it.
Okay, I'll try and do all of those. And that's made a big, we spoke about desk setup, and I've changed my desk setup indoors a lot, and the other huge difference. Yeah, completely. Yeah, I'm sure it I'm sure my shoulders are feeling better for that. And also your advice about videoing myself sitting there, which has made me a little more conscious of when I'm sitting in the wrong place. I'm beginning to know what it feels like, because I was sitting way too forward. Yeah, so that's really changed the way I sit at the desk, and yes, I do think I'm feeling the benefit of that.
Good, excellent.
That's brilliant.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
That's wonderful.